Well, if you've been paying attention at all to politics this week, you know it's been a whirlwind of news and developments on the Trump front. We wanted to package some of the highlights for you in one place, right here, so you could wrap your head around everything that's really starting to come into focus. Starting with number one, former diplomat to the United States, Ahmed al-Rumaihi, who's currently the head of Qatar Investments, which is a $100 billion internal division of the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Qatar Investment Authority. Well, he was seen at Trump Tower with Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, on December 12, 2016, a mere 5 days after it was announced that the Qatar Investment Authority was the group that purchased a 19.5% stake in Rosneft, which is the third largest company in Russia with annual revenues of $135 billion. Number two, we also learned that through a sworn affidavit in a separate and unrelated civil lawsuit that Rumaihi was attempting to bribe Steve Bannon for access to Trump, and that he also claimed to have successfully bribed Michael Flynn, Trump's former national security advisor and convicted felon who lied to the FBI while it was investigating him and Trump ties to Russia. Number three, we learned that according to an unnamed Kuwaiti source, and as reported in the Daily Mail, that Michael Cohen attempted to solicit millions of dollars from Rumaihi, promising to funnel that money through himself to pay out various members of the Trump family. Number four, we've learned that several of Michael Cohen's big money transactions were flagged for review as suspicious by the Treasury Department of the United States, and that these documents somehow mysteriously disappeared from the database. This, according to a breaking news story by Ronan Farrow last night, who got the information from a very concerned law enforcement agent who is exceedingly alarmed that the documents that are as serious and important as financial suspicious activity reports would just up and disappear from the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. Number five, we're also learning that Jared Kushner's family is inches away from closing a deal for a massive bailout to save its investment in its largest property with a company of which the government of, guess who, Qatar, is a significant stakeholder. Number six, we also learned that Donald Trump in his official financial disclosure form made glaring omissions, including, we now know, payments made to Michael Cohen, his personal attorney, which of course begs the question as to what else has been omitted in his disclosures. In fact, the required disclosures on this financial disclosure form were damning enough that the acting director of the Office of Government Ethics forwarded their findings to the Justice Department for investigation. Now, switching gears just a little bit, we also learned more about the Trump Tower meeting from June 9, 2016, where Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort met with now known Russian agent Natalia Veselnitskaya to discuss a promise of damaging information to Trump's political rival, Hillary Clinton. Number seven, we now know that Donald Trump Jr. made several mysterious calls to blocked numbers, both before and after that meeting. One of which was an 11-minute call placed shortly after he arranged the meeting over email. However, we've learned from Senate Intelligence Committee testimony transcripts that Donald Trump Jr. claims to have forgotten who he called. Number eight, we know from testimony given to an investigating House committee by Corey Lewandowski that coincidentally, the president's residence in Trump Tower has a blocked telephone number, suggesting a very real possibility that Donald Trump was apprised and informed of every step of this meeting. Number nine, we know that Kushner, during the meeting, was becoming openly angry that the conversation was not focused on the promised damaging information, and that Trump's team, led by Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., kept trying to redirect the conversation back to the promised dirt. And number 10, we also know that according to Veselnitskaya herself, her purpose was to persuade the potential incoming administration to consider lifting the Magnitsky Act, which has been an impediment to the financial interest of Putin himself, his allies, and oligarchs all across Russia for many, many years. This was all only from this week. So taken all together, what does all of this mean? It means that Vladimir Putin has been pulling no stops whatsoever and has attempted to utilize every means possible to ensure Russian sanctions would be lifted by the United States, including blackmail, bribes, utilization of proxies, quid pro quos, and all tools available to him to accomplish this purpose. It's becoming more and more obvious by the day that in Donald Trump, Putin saw an opportunity to accomplish these goals, even preparing to cut Trump in on a lucrative Rosneft oil sale to get there. And the more that news breaks, the more clear it is how all of this is tying together. Trump can scream no collusion all he wants, but the breaking facts and Team Trump's obvious attempts to conceal the truth are telling a very different story. Also, keep in mind that as devastating as all of this information is, this is just what is known publicly. You can rest assured that Robert Mueller and his team of dogged investigators and prosecutors know far, far more than this. And the time is coming, very soon, for Donald Trump and his merry band of conspirators to pay for their crimes against the country we hold so dear.